Alright, so we are back with what will unfortunately probably be my last ever Sekiro video. This is the video where I give up officially on this game. With Genichiro. But I wanted to make a video because I wanted to, number one, kind of show how far I was able to get with Genichiro, and also just to kind of reflect on what it means for me to give up on this. It's really not something that I'm doing lightly. You know, I made that other really long video where I tried to talk myself into, you know, trying this game again and coming back, and you know, there were a few things that I always knew that I might not be able to beat this, and there were a couple things that I just sort of needed to learn. And one was just sort of whether or not, how big a role did actual skill come into this, because, you know, I mentioned before that there's skill, which I think is kind of almost separate, or can be considered separate from just practice over and over again. And I wanted to know, like, was simply practicing over and over again, is that all it really took to beat Sekiro, or to beat any of these Souls games, you know? Because let me actually start from the beginning here. You know, when I started playing Souls games, and I've played all of them, I haven't beaten all of them, but I've played all of them, co-op was just the way that I started. It just seemed like the obvious thing to do, rather than spend a lot of time on the bosses. So I played all the games co-op. I would co-op the bosses. I would explore the levels myself. And I thought that was great fun. I had so much fun with that. And I really thought that that's how you played these games. And so when I found out that Sekiro was not going to have that, I was really nervous, and I thought maybe I shouldn't even get this game, but then I thought, well, let's try it. And I actually thought maybe Sekiro will be the game that forces me to try to become a boss fighter. And it did, you know, and I beat every boss up to this guy, and it took a lot of tries, and I got used to all the things that everybody does, like doing the boss run a million times, fighting the guy a million times, learning his move sets. Like in the Souls games, I don't know any boss's move set. I sometimes read about, you know, so-and-so has this move, and to me it's all just a giant blur. Sekiro, this is the first game where I actually learned guys' move sets. You could tell me, like, you know, when Genichiro... I know every move that Genichiro does, that's for damn sure. Because I have fought this guy, like, at least 50, maybe 60 times now. I know all his moves. I've seen a million videos on it. I've tried it a million times. And what Genichiro has taught me is that practice is just not enough. Like, maybe if I had a coach, like someone right here in the room with me who could say, okay, you know, you're doing this wrong, you need to tweak this, you need to start doing that. Maybe I could get there. But just like with left to my own devices to try to figure out my own methods, plus watching some YouTube videos, I can't make it happen on this guy. I have gotten to his third stage. I don't get to his third stage in this video. But I've gotten to his third stage, but I just can't get further than that. Now let's take a minute here and look at Genichiro's moves. I had been neglecting to talk about the fight because I wanted to point out how I'm able to hit the right response to just about everything he does. On occasion, I just can't string it all together. So like there, okay, I got that Mikiri counter. That's a regular move that you have to be able to do. And right there, I deflected the arrows. That's like the first time in my life that I deflected the arrows. But you see, I couldn't get it again. I got the Mikiri counter that first time. I couldn't get it the second time. Now, one of the things I was trying to do in this video was I was trying to take more time to heal up and even to recover my own posture, knowing that he was going to get his posture back, but I just figured that's okay because I've got his health down, and I should be able to get him up. But you can see here, it's just... I just can't do everything. There's too many things to do, and I inevitably mess something up. Let's see if I get it. I got it. Okay, got the Makiri. But you'll see, like, about half the time that he does it, I don't get it. And I have no idea why. Like, I swear I'm hitting the button. I mean, I'm mashing the button, which might have something to do with... See, I didn't get it that time. I'm mashing the button, which might have something to do with why I'm missing, but I am getting it half the time. So it's like, it's not consistent either way, which, to me, that's really frustrating, too. Because I feel like... in order to feel like I'm making progress, I have to be able to do some things consistently. And to me, it's like just about mastering the moves maybe one at a time. See, I didn't get it there and he killed me. It's like it's about mastering the moves one at a time. And it's like if I can master that Makiri, okay, now I can work on mastering deflecting the arrows when he shoots them. And then once I've mastered that, it's like one situation at a time. There's like 50 situations with this guy. One situation at a time, you master them. And then you move on. And it's like, I think that's how it's supposed to work. I think that's probably how it does work for a lot of people, but it's just not working that way for me. There's nothing that he's doing that I'm able to consistently hit the right response. And, you know, so, like last year, when I stopped playing this game after beating the horse boss, I didn't want to fight the bull, and I didn't want to continue playing this game, but I felt like the reasons were all bad reasons. It was like I didn't want to do... I just didn't want the game to be hard, you know? I didn't want to do the boss run because that was annoying. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to experience frustration. Got the Makiri. I got it. One of these battles, I do get to his second phase. I actually did pretty decent. I don't know if it's going to be this one. But basically, I was being a quitter, you know? I was being a quitter, and I didn't want to be a quitter. I wanted to play this game. I wanted to subject myself to the brutal difficulty, and I just wanted to stick with it and see what would happen. You know, could I make it work? And it really seemed like I was making it work. You know, I got through all the I got through Lady Butterfly. I even got through that. See, I couldn't get that arrow. I even got through that 7 Spears Ashina. Let me tell you another thing about this guy. If you ever sort of lose your composure for a minute, like you just kind of don't really understand what's going on just for a second, you're screwed. He'll kill you, and there's nothing you can do. And one thing that's really different about this game from Dark Souls is like you cannot get away from him. Like if you just want to get away and just take a minute, regain your mind, sip your Estus, he'll let you do that sometimes. But a lot of the time he just chases right after your ass and keeps attacking you. So it's really, really hard. Okay, here's where I get to the second phase. Now I got to his second phase maybe 1 out of every 5 battles I was getting to his second phase. And I got to his third phase 2 times out of probably 50 battles. And I was sort of doing the math in my head, and I was thinking about the way things went with Lady Butterfly. Lady Butterfly was kicking my ass just about every battle too. But I was learning enough of her that when a particular fight came up where she just kind of happened to do everything in an order that I could handle, and I just kind of happened to put it all together, I got the victory on her. And I think that's pretty much how I've gotten the victory on all these bosses. And if Genichiro were only 2 stages, I would have gotten the victory on him too. Even though I can't beat his first stage most of the time, I did get to his 3rd stage once, and that's all it would have taken to beat him, and I would have moved on with the game. But by adding that 3rd stage, they really increased the level of mastery and skill that's required. Like, there's no way you're just gonna be almost good enough that you can squeak by. Not with this guy. And I'm guessing that there's more like him later in the game. Maybe not every boss is like him. I know he's considered to be one of the hardest bosses, or so I've read. But at least the final boss, I'm sure. And probably some others. So, you know, what I'm getting at is I'm getting to the point where I'm just trying to say I don't have the ability to beat Genichiro. Like, it's not about putting in the time. It's not about being willing to lose. It's not about frustration. I'm honestly not frustrated. If anything, I actually feel the desire to continue to play him. I actually found it to be a little fun, even with dying. It wasn't something that I was dreading. I actually kind of liked it, but I'm just not making any progress. Like, I'm just not getting any better. And so I have to conclude that I've come up... I just sort of reached the limit of what I can do. That was a good Mikiri counter. I've reached the limit of what my mind can handle. My mind cannot process information fast enough to fight this guy or to beat this game. At least not on my own. Not without some Sekiro coach, private tutor. That's not going to happen. So that's it. And why does it have to be a big thing? Why do I have to quit? Why does it have to be official? Why can't I just put the controller down and maybe come back or maybe not? Well, because it has to do with whether or not I'm going to spoil the game for myself. Still to this day, I have never watched anything beyond what I've played myself. And I've been really, really reluctant to spoil the game because I keep thinking that I can play this game because I want to play this game. I want to be good enough to play this game. And I've quit other games that I didn't want to play, like Dark Souls 2. I quit Dark Souls 2. I didn't want to play Dark Souls 2. I lost confidence in Dark Souls 2. I lost faith in it. I felt like it was a garbage game. And even if I'm wrong about it, I don't care. Like, I'm fine with the fact that I didn't play that. But this game, I know it's not a garbage game. It's just a little bit too hard. You know, I think just a little bit. Like, I know that I've gleaned from some YouTube videos and such that they have, that there are even harder modes than this. Like, the standard game is what it is, but then New Game Plus brings a lot of other options. That's what I understand. And, man, I wish they had just made the standard game a little easier and then piled on all those hard modes for everybody else. You know, why did the standard difficulty have to be this hard? If it was just a little bit easier, like, I swear, if Genichiro were 80% faster, I could handle him. Alright, this is my last ever battle. And I thought maybe it would go well. It's actually one of the worst fights I've ever put against him, which I think is telling. It's symbolic of my whole experience with this guy, is that the more I work at it, no level of comfort is sticking. Like, he can still just completely own me. If he just does things a little bit differently, or just a little what I'm not expecting, he can still own me. Why didn't I get the Mikiri on that? Who knows? I did the same thing I always do. He just took me out like so fast. Ugh. And then he got me with that, yeah. Just pathetic. It was bad. So I give up on Sekiro. I'm not good enough to beat Genichiro. Maybe there's a cheese tactic I could try. I don't want to do that. Maybe there's a slower, more chip away at vitality. I don't really want to do that. I want to be able to play the game the way it's meant to be played. I want to be able to get posture kills. And I know Genichiro of all guys is, you know, he's the Ashino warrior. I mean, you really are supposed to be able to beat him with deflections and sword combat. So I'm very disappointed, but it is what it is. At least I know that I'm not quitting for the wrong reasons. It wasn't that I wasn't willing to lose or wasn't willing to actually try to put in some hard work, try to master something. I did, but I just couldn't handle it. So here at the end, I think I run away to catch a view from the beginning of the game. I thought it was really, really cool world design. The way you sort of loop around this kind of horseshoe semicircle thing, and you can see back across the chasm, and you can see all the areas that you played. Of course, that area in the distance, I believe, is the very first part of the game. So that's pretty cool. Can you believe I've spent 40 hours on this game? I've spent as much time on this game as a lot of people have that played it and beat it. So it's not like I didn't get my money's worth out of Sekiro, and I got a lot of good action. And beating that Lady Butterfly really was a satisfying victory. So I got to experience at least a little bit of the satisfaction of, you know, what I got to I got a small taste of what everyone's talking about when they talk about this game and the glory of doing it right. So all right, Sekiro, I'm done with you. I'm going to watch it on YouTube. I'm going to see the whole rest of the game, and then I'll wait for the next FromSoft game, which hopefully will have some kind of easy mode, and I'll be able to do it. All right, until then.